Okay, so I'm doing my Katie Wood Ray technique video on technique number 2 with the book The Bear Ate Your Sandwich by Julia Sarconi Roach. And so like I said before, I will be addressing technique number 2, crafting with positioning perspective. And so what we want to do in this writing workshop is to help students understand that the illustrator is in charge of how readers see the scene. And so ultimately he or she decides what to picture in the picture and also where the reader will be positioned to view that picture. So oftentimes we see that students draw one central image, often from the same perspective. So what we really want to challenge students with is to draw that central image, but then also show us different perspectives of that central image. And so in order to change this when reading with students, as a teacher, we should look at the central images positioned in different ways and talk about what the angle allows the reader to see around the image, and then how the image also might be different from a different angle. We should also discuss how a certain picture might make us feel from a different angle. So one way I would do that in The Bear Ate Your Sandwich is by calling students' attention to the central image of the bear and the sandwich on the front cover. And then open up the book and look at several different examples of the different perspectives we see the bear from. So let me just show you some of those, and I'll discuss some of the other techniques as well. So here again we see our central image of the bear in the sandwich, which will come into play. So here's going to be an important page at the end of our story here, so keep that in your mind for the end of the story. So we see the bear and all the sandwiches he's going to eat. We've got the title page here. And so then here's the first page. And so here I'd really draw students' attention to see that, or to notice that here's the bear from the front view. And so that's just one of our several different perspectives we're going to see the bear from. So there is our bear on the first page. So then on the second page here, we see just the bear again. And then the third page is actually where our first technique of Katie Wood Ray's comes into play. And so here you can see the bear crawling behind the truck. And so this is kind of building meaning from one idea to the next. So this is foreshadowing what may happen in the next page here. So let's flip the page. And we'll look and we can see here that sure enough, it foreshadowed the bear getting into the truck. This is also building perspective as well, because now we saw the bear from the front at first, but now we see the back side of the bear. We also see the bear, if you see here, in the top, from the top view of the truck. And so this just gives us a different feeling. And so it could show us that, you know, he's hungry, and it could make us kind of feel sad for him because he's hungry and he looks kind of tired. So you can see here just another example of that building with perspective, because but just with a more zoomed in look at that picture. So as we flip to the next page, here's just another overview of the next setting he's going to be in. So this doesn't even have our central image in it, but it is going to foreshadow where he's going to be next. So here on this page here, we can see a little bit of building meaning from one idea to the next, as you see the bear in the back of the truck. And then if we move over this way, we can see the bear. So again, here we see the central image of the bear, and then from that front perspective again. So we'll move on to the next page, and here is where I would probably stop and talk about building perspective for the first time. And so I talked to students about how, you know, we have that central image of the bear, but here we can see the bear from so many different angles. We see him from behind, we see him from the side, we see him from the side here again, we see him on top of a building, we see him crawling through something, we see him standing up, so that side view again. We see him on the top, maybe from the other side. We see him from the back here again, stretched out from the back, from the side again, and then we also see his butt here. So, and this could also be building meaning from one idea to the next again. And so we could talk to students about how you can have that one central image, but your characters can be in so many different places. So that is what I get from that page. Also in this, The author uses word layout to convey meaning. So if we look up top here, it says the forest had many great climbing spots, and you can see here the different climbing spots. So giving meaning to the words there. You can also see here it says the trees were still itchy here, and so using that light pole to act as a tree. So giving that meaning, and then it says there was good bark for scratching. So you can see the bear scratching the side, but again giving that meaning. And then last but not least, and the mud squished nicely under his feet, and you can see that is symbolizing the sidewalk there. So lots of different techniques in this page here. So then here we can see the bear eating the trash. And the thing I like about this page is it kind of gives us a passage of time. So you can see the author's use of details of light to show the passage of time, and also using the scene to capture the passage of time as well. So we can see that it's clearly daytime here, maybe getting a little bit darker with those oranges in there. So that's that page. And then as we move over here, we can see the author used the scene as a list, which is super awesome. So that's another technique of Katie Wood Ray's as well. And then as we look in here, this would be my second example of that building different perspectives, as we can see the bear here from behind, from the side, on top of him, on another above view of him, another above view, and then you can see him probably from the side and then going down this slide. So super awesome use of that as well. There's also a couple of other ones that the author uses, other techniques. And so one is using the scene to show different actions. So we can see the bear swinging, we can see the bear on these fun little things here, we can see him on the merry-go-round, jumping in the puddles, in the little fountain here, and also going down the slide. And so that's one of Katie Wood Ray's techniques. The other one is she kind of uses that word layout to building meaning from one idea to the next. So you can see it says, and then, and that is when he saw it. And so that's going to foreshadow what is happening next here. So then we'll look at the next page here. And you can see again here it's that building meaning from one idea to the next. So you can see the bear start here, and then he keeps sneaking up here. And so then this leads us to wonder what's going to happen next, and maybe even foreshadow. So then if we take a look at the next page, you can see there the bear got his sandwich. And then you can also notice another Katie Wood Ray technique with that, using the text. And so then, as we go into the next page, here would be another example of where we could point out there's that central image that we got from the beginning of the story, but you can see how much larger the bear is compared to those dogs. So there's that on that page. Then as we flip to this page, this is one of my favorite pictures in the book, and this is probably where I'd spend most of my time talking about the picture. And so here you can see from earlier the city that the bear was in, but you also get that building perspective again, because not only do we see an above view of everything happening in the story, we also see the bear from behind. So there's two examples of those crafting with positioning perspective. So you can also see here, I love this part of the story, and so you can see here where the author uses the scene to capture a passage of time, and also uses that detail of light to show the passages of time. So another one of Katie Wood Ray's techniques there. And then here you see kind of like the Mitten story, where you build that meaning from one idea to the next again, so you can see in this circle what's going to happen next in the story. And so here again, just a great example of how you could show the use of lighting and things like that to capture time. And then here you get the perspective of the dog. And so you can see the dog. You haven't seen the central image yet, but you can see the back of the dog. And then as we flip the page, you can see how the author crafts this perspective again, as you see the side and the full view of the dog now as well. And that brings us to the end. And so there you can see that central image of the dog there. And then that brings me to my last point here. And so you can see this is just like the beginning, but instead this time it's the dog. So here the author crafts an ending that returns to the lead and designs an ending page to convey meaning, which are 2 more of Katie Wood Ray's techniques. And that brings me to the end of the story. And so there you can see even the back of the story has a meaning as well.